So I'm driving by on a public roadway and I'm using my Armasight Sidekick 640 to seeing what everybody is watching. As I come closer, I noticed that there's a vehicle that was caught on fire and the firefighters did a remarkable job putting the fire out. As you can see, my Armasight Sidekick 640 does an excellent job at detecting heat when it comes from certain sources. And one of those certain sources I'm referring to is vehicles. Everything that you see in red indicates hot. You probably don't want to touch that. Right here, I'm using the rainbow palette, and it really does a good job at heat detection. Hey everybody, this is Sean. If you like this video, please press the like button. Please consider sharing this video, and if you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. So in my video, I'm going to do something a lot different. There are about 5 videos out there where YouTube content creators are reviewing the Armasight 640 Sidekick, and they do a remarkable job in doing so. I'm going to do something a little bit different. The other videos focus on the technology behind this. I'm going to focus on real-world use of it. And if you guys don't know my background, I have a background in private security and in law enforcement. I am actively working out there as a law enforcement officer. Today's my day off. This is my off-duty gig today. I'm going over my uses, my experiences with this device. Maybe you might be on a SWAT team. Maybe you might be on some tactical unit. Maybe you might be a private security officer who is high into tech and you want the best devices at detecting people. I think that this video is for you. So we won't talk about the technical aspects about it, just my personal use. And at the end, I'll discuss whether or not I recommend this. And also, if you needed any additional information, if there's something that I haven't discussed, feel free to check out the description tab. And also, if you're interested in looking at my affiliate links with Amazon, you can also check the description tab after this video or during this video. It is totally up to you. As for using the Sidekick 640 to clear structures, to do CQB with it, I just don't think the refresh rate is probably too slow. You'll probably need a lot of practice. But what I notice is that to detect something, and I keep saying this in a repetitive manner, something up close, something that is human, something's animal, you're constantly having to readjust like this. I just don't think that you have to modify your tactics, modify your techniques to accommodate a thermal. It shouldn't be that way. So for CQB, for room clearance, for structure clearances, I don't recommend it. I've also used it to zone in on different structures, different buildings before we hit the location. And again, there's been cats like walking around, not rats, but cats, sometimes small dogs, and I just can't detect them fast enough. So if I can't detect a dog or a cat fast enough, or I'm having difficulty detecting a human that's hiding beneath the bushes, this is not for you. This is not for you. Now, it's possible, once again, when you start tilting the device, you shouldn't relearn different techniques to accommodate this device. So I would say absolutely not. Let's now talk about the setup. What I have before you is a PVS 14, and then I have an Armasight Sidekick 640. I placed it on this Rayvngroup bridge. And what the Rayvngroup bridge attempts to do is fuse night vision capabilities with thermal capabilities. Now, I didn't have a difficult time or too much of a difficult time with my brain fusing the two together. What I did see was something that looked kind of strange to me, and I can't show you on camera how it looked like. I don't even know how to do that. But on my right eye, I can clearly see night vision. And then on my left eye, it looked like a small square, and it looked like I was looking at a computer screen. So that was on the left eye. Now my right eye is dominant, and if anything, if I saw anything during the different nights that I pressure test this, my brain would always cater to the night vision part because I'm right side dominant. So where did I mount the setup? Well, I'm running a Kevlar helmet and I have a G24 Wilcox shroud on it. And as you could see right here, this portion right here, it mounts perfectly on there. So what I would do is during graveyard shift for a couple of months is I would pressure test this, and I would ride my bike with my NVG and thermal bridge and just experiment as much as possible. And if you ever done bike patrol, there's so much obstacles that are out there. There's streets that are uneven. You go off these small jumps, you go off different roadways, and you have to balance. And I got to the point where I was doing pretty good with this. I wouldn't fall on my butt. I wouldn't fall off the bike. I would be able to maneuver through traffic. You're talking about vehicles passing me by. I was able to maneuver around them without getting struck, all with this on. So in the areas that I patrol, especially the downtown area, the whole neighborhood is plagued with fentanyl. And at this particular bus stop, you would see people at night just out on fentanyl. They're like just laying on the benches, laying between the benches. Sometimes they're walking around or they're trying to walk. And I would see how far I can get with my thermals. And unfortunately, it didn't do a good job at detecting heat. So from maybe about 40 yards away, I would try to pick them up on the thermals, and they would just be sitting down, sleeping. It wouldn't pick them up. It wouldn't at all. And then I would ride my bike to exactly where they're at, where they're asleep, and it still wouldn't pick them up. Now, I was able to tell where they're at because I would use my regular vision, right? You know, just I would take off my setup and just look to see where they're at, and I would approach them. But the features on here didn't help me detect them. It was features in here. So I was a little bit disappointed. Now, what I did notice is that when I pan along the x-axis, I could start picking up heat signatures. But I couldn't do that with some of the guys that were all strung on fentanyl for some reason. And it's not because of what they're on. Now, I've also taken this to the range, and I tried the same thing, and sometimes I can detect heat on the shooters downrange, and sometimes I wasn't able to. Now, here's another good case use for thermals. We know that thermals are decent. I mean, depending on the type that you buy, they're decent at detecting heat. Some of them are really good at detecting heat. And when you are man tracking, or maybe you're tracking for animals, I think urine is a good sign that somebody has recently left the area. So I tried that. I tried to see how much I can detect with urine, how much heat I could detect with urine. There was fresh urine, as you can see. I would pan up and down, and it would pick it up fast. And then again, here's some other fresh urine, and it detects almost nothing. The only reason I was able to detect the urine is because I know that somebody just urinated there. Now, if you're looking for a fugitive, you're looking for an animal, this is a sign that you might be looking for, right? Is that heat. I think it did an okay job doing that, but I wouldn't depend my life on it. Now, also, I've pressure tested this with touching things, like touching windows, touching computer screens, touching glass, and sometimes the thermals will pick it up, and other times no. And then same thing with like walking barefooted on carpet. It would pick it up sometimes, and then other times it wouldn't. What I notice is that this Armasight Sidekick 640, it does a decent job at detecting heat. I mean, if you're looking at something, if you're looking to purchase something where you just go out on an open field and think that this device is going to automatically detect heat signatures on animals or humans, I think that you might be disappointed in your expectation. Now, if you use this thing correctly, and I'll discuss how to use it correctly, I think you'll have a decent chance of detecting heat. So, for example, if you are able to post yourself on an open field or maybe elevated position and just maneuver or just pan up and down. Okay, what I mean by pan up and down is you're basically just doing this. You're shifting your focal plane on the x-axis. You're just doing this a little bit. You might be able to detect somebody at various distances. Now, I noticed that my device is best at detecting heat from about 75 yards and in. Now, I have detected heat at 300 to maybe 400 yards, not animals, but structures like lights and vehicles. But as for detecting, again, animals and humans at those distances, I just don't think that this is the best setup just to use by itself. Now, I keep saying by itself. What else do we need? Look, in order for this to work properly, you have to use your senses. Sight, smell, sometimes you can taste things in the air. Sometimes you use your sixth sense if you have it. I mean, I think we all have it to a certain degree. And then sometimes, you look for signs that somebody was at a certain place. Maybe you'll have like warm coffee. You'll have cups with ice still in it, right? And these are all features. These are all things that will guide you into looking at certain areas. Okay, and that's what I think where this device really rocks. If I know that something is coming, or I know that something is in a particular area, I could take my time a little bit. I could stay posted, and I could shift this up and down along the x-axis, and I'll spot it. I just don't think that this is something that's good for detecting heat signatures at like beyond 100 yards. And that's my honest review of that. Now, if you're using this to detect vehicle heat, this is very impressive. I'm really impressed by this device. And when will you need to detect heat from vehicles? Well, maybe you're working private security. You have a lot of parking lots, and you have a lot of vehicles that have been sitting overnight, a lot of vehicles that haven't been touched for hours. I think this device does an excellent job, a great job at detecting heat that comes out of the engines. And you can use different pellets to do that. To do that, I like to use Rainbow, but you can use the Black Hot palette on here, which I use often. The one I primarily use is the Black Hot. I usually don't use Rainbow. I don't use the other ones. That's the one I normally use. Rainbow does a good job at detecting vehicles, and then the Black Hot, it does a really good job. Maybe also you are a sniper. Maybe you're assigned to Overwatch or something like that in a law enforcement role, or maybe a private security role. This is an excellent device, guys, to detect heat from vehicles. I mean, when you do Overwatch, you want to know who's sitting in the vehicle, who just parked, and this does an excellent job doing that. I think it does 100% great job doing that. But as for the people that are walking around the vehicle, again, you're gonna have to sit there, stay posted, and look for movement behind the lens. Or you're gonna have to use your five senses to help guide you into spotting a certain area where you should be looking with your Armasight 640. As you can see through the footage, I've taken this to the range. And at the range, we're able to detect vehicles. I mean, most of the guys at the range, they parked their vehicle here maybe about an hour ago. And it does an excellent job doing that. I know one of the guys that's shooting in the videos. The guy sweats a lot. He generates a lot of heat, and I was not able to detect heat on him right away. And I'm talking about maybe about 70 yards away, and then I moved into like 7 yards, and I still couldn't detect him. The only way I can detect him is if I pan my monocular up, down until the red heat signature starts developing. That was the only time. What I'm saying is this: if you're using this to, and I know I sound repetitive, forgive me on that, but if you're using this as a tool to spot heat signatures on human beings or animals, like right away, it's just not going to work out. It's not going to work out. Now, what is the future of this? Now, I've always wanted thermals. They were very expensive. I mean, you're looking at, I think maybe 20. I think I paid 3,000. And right now they're going for about $2,800 used. I don't see any used ones out there, but there might be a used one. Anyhow, I got the thrill out of my mind. As you can see, I can act very like teenagerish. Like I these are cool gadgets to have. Um, I have a lot of fun with this. And it's just something that I've always, this is something that I always wanted to have. So I got it, I played with it, and now I'm done with it. My goal is to have a dual setup where I have two PVS 14s. I'm going to dump this. However, if I had, if I had PVS 31s, the dual PVS 14s, I wouldn't mind buying this separately, but obviously I don't have unlimited cash. Eventually I will buy this again, but I have some classes coming up. I'm training with CWPS, Citywide Protection Services, and I want to be able to have duals, right? So I am going to get rid of this, but mind you, I'm going to buy it probably back later again. So that's it. If you're looking to look into the night, you want something to help guide you in the night, get NVGs. Don't get thermals. If you're looking to go hunting at night, maybe PVS, if it's legal in your state, PVS 14s or your night visions, right? Probably not thermals. Now, if you have a lot of money, which I don't, well, this is what I'm going to do eventually is have dual PVS 14s, and then probably get about a $6,000 or $7,000 clip-on thermal, which will overlay thermal images on my NVG devices. So that's the ultimate goal, and it's going to take me about 2 years to get there, but eventually I will. If you guys are interested in the Rayvngroup bridge, where we get to bridge the Armasight Sidekick 640 with the PVS 14, this is an excellent bridge. I really like it, and I'm going to probably end up selling this one too. So that's all I got. If you guys are interested in the product, if you have any questions, concerns, if you have any experience with it, please let us know in the comment section box. Also, if you're interested in buying this, check out the description box as well for any links that we might have. All right, guys, I'm out. Stay safe.